And welcome back. You are listening to D15 live here, broadcasting from the shopping centre, and it's D15's edition here with Charlie and Jeff. And of course, I love live radio, and we're ringing our current guests like it was the phone was going here, there, and everywhere. But we eventually got him on the line. Tom, you're most welcome.
Good morning, Jeff, to you and your listeners. How are you?
Not too bad. Live radio is great. You know,
yeah, the Gremlins were at it there, but we got there in the end, just like the space mission.
No, that's always the fun of it. Anyway, you're most welcome. Now, I was talking to my fellow presenter here, and of course you broadcast on another station, but it's a very special kind of broadcast or program that you do, and that's a certain type of music.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, on Sunday nights, Jeff. We've been doing it now for 14 years on Dublin Sunshine 106.8. And the show, to anybody who doesn't know about it, is called Sunshine Swing. And it's a 4-hour program that goes out between 8 and midnight on Sundays. And we concentrate on all the great timeless standards from the golden age of swing, big band, and the great American songbook. And as you know, there's a huge popularity amongst people with that style of music. We were all brought up on it, really. And it's worked very well for us.
I mean, when you talk about that songbook, I mean, I'm old enough to obviously remember these artists, Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong, Dean Martin. Now, they're guessing about Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin definitely, and what was the other guy?
Sammy Davis.
Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah, I don't know, the Rat Pack. Yes. They were of a set in a certain period of time.
Oh yeah, the 60s. I mean, it was the hottest ticket in town in the 60s. If you were going to Vegas to the Stardust or whatever, I don't know what it would have been like to see those three guys perform. Like we all see them now in footage and so on. It must have been electric, to see them on stage. They just had natural talent and weren't just great singers, but could converse with an audience like nobody else, and that was one of the main ingredients of their success, that people bought into them, both men and women. I mean, Dino was loved by the women and in equal measure was loved by men. The women wanted to marry him and the men wanted to hang out with him at the bar, I suppose.
Yeah. And of course, we have social media now, it's instant, just pick up a smartphone, and you're out there, you can get your message across, you can sing a song, you can, do any kind of thing. But of course, in those days, it was only through the medium of film, like making a movie, and yes. Of course, they in themselves were film stars,
absolutely.
These kind of vehicles were kind of written around them, for the songs.
Yeah, well, of course, they had the Ocean's 11, which was a huge, iconic movie. But if you go on to Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin outside the Ocean's 11, they appeared in some great movies themselves, and of course, Sinatra picking up a gong for From Here to Eternity, which was well deserved, because I think he was overlooked because he was such a strong performer and recording artist. People just kind of looked at Frank Sinatra as being the above, but he was a formidable actor, and some of the films that I've watched that Sinatra was in, if you just put aside the fact that it was Frank Sinatra and look at the guy performing, he really was a great actor. He was a great all-round entertainer, as indeed Sammy was and Dino. They were magical, absolutely magical.
Yeah, I mean, Dean Martin, I suppose, not taken away, again, in terms of his intelligence level or his IQ, but he always kind of came across as that guy, kind of hapless comedian, the fall guy. As you mentioned about women, never doing it right. Yeah, and that appealed to a certain type of person, I mean, yourself how hard it is for you and I to appear intelligent. Can you imagine trying to be, if you are intelligent, it's very hard to try and flip that and appear frivolous and stupid, if you like. But Dean Martin could do that to a T, he really could do that to a T. And he read comic books for, all his life, and... Right.
He got married three times, had 7 children, and he got around. He lived his life to the full, and by all accounts, he didn't like the show business end of it, He didn't hang out at the parties.
Okay, right.
Yeah, he wasn't the usual Hollywood party socialite. Yeah. He didn't like crowds. He liked an easy life, and even with his very popular TV show that went out in the 60s, he didn't like even going to rehearsals for that. Just tell me where I stand and away we go. Yeah. So I mean that takes that takes a lot of talent and a lot of nerve. You know?
I suppose it was a natural talent. You said, like, you know, he knew how to play it, and I suppose that's what comes across in my vague memories of watching some of those movies, like Sammy Davis Jr. They just made it look easy. Now, how easy it was, I don't know. But the other thing that struck me, Tom, as well, that we're very conscious in these times, like, of overdoing it, like, you know, and of course, if you mention smoking now, you cannot have smoking. Well, I know it still happens in movies and stuff like that, but it's all, we all know they're smoking false cigarettes.
Now,
but their lifestyle.
Cillian Murphy smoked 3,000 herbal cigarettes for Peaky Blinders.
And he never wanted to see him again. But these guys, like on stage, like Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, it was for real, and of course the drinking as well. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. Although Dean Martin wasn't a heavy drinker, Jeff.
Is that true?
He wasn't a heavy drinker at all, and you were alluding to it there on stage. He just drank apple juice on stage, you know.
Go away.
Yeah, it wasn't really till he came out of the limelight, as it were, that he would go down to his local restaurant and he'd have some wine and such with his meal. But he wasn't a heavy drinker at all. Sinatra was the Sinatra was the animal, you know, when it came to drink. He'd stay up all night drinking, you know.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fascinating. So just kind of moving on to the present day, obviously, because given your knowledge there, you're really, you know these guys, like, and of course that lends itself then to the songs. And I know, like, in terms of the show that you do, the kind of swing music and the show that you do, and then that kind of led on then to the idea of let's bring it to a live audience.
Well, that's exactly what happened, Jeff. I mean, I was on radio in the 90s doing the Hits of the World Countdown, which is basically the charts. Right. And I left that, had a sabbatical, and then I was invited back onto radio, and I didn't know what I wanted to do on radio, but I didn't want to do what I was doing previous. So I came up with the idea that my father was listening to a lot of the great standards, the swing music, and the great crooners like Perry Como and Dean Martin, Sinatra, Matt Monroe, and all the rest. And I put it to the producer at the time that the only thing I could really come up with that I think we should give a shot to was that genre of music. And it was 2 seconds that it took him to agree, let's do it. So I went out to Bray where the studios were, and we put it together, and we said, let's see how it goes. And it went from a 2-hour program to a 4-hour program within about probably 2 years. And it's been that way now for the last 12 years. And it's just fantastic. So what I decided to do was, I decided then to take a portion of what we do on radio, a slice of what we do on radio, and bring it to the public. And I gave it a try. And since COVID, I have, with the songs that shaped the world, I've had, 17 sold-out shows in the theatres. The Draíocht, the Civic, that kind of theatre, the National Concert Hall, John Field Room. And in fact, I'll be in the main room, the main stage in the National Concert Hall now, in July, the 9th of July, with Flo McSweeney as my guest and the big 50-piece choir, Enoch Choir. So the traction on it has just been phenomenal. And on Sunday nights, I get videos, I get texts, I get emails of people who are listening to the programme, not just here in Dublin and Ireland, but from around the world. And I actually befriended Michael Parkinson because of it, because he contacted me on one occasion, and he said, "Hi Tom, it's Michael here. It's great to know that there's somebody as young as yourself who wasn't around when they first aired Casablanca that actually has a handle on this music. We can't get any of it in the UK." And I thought, well, that's a nice email, but I scrolled down, Jeff, and I saw it was Michael Parkinson Productions, and I went on to meet Michael both in the UK and here, and he listened to my show and gave me some incredible advice. And I suppose the other big thing that came out of it was I got invited to meet the great Tony Bennett in London.
Oh God, yeah.
And just without going on too much about it, me thanking Tony Bennett in the bowels of the Royal Albert Hall for all the great music and all the great entertainment he's given the world. He was thanking me for keeping it alive. So I couldn't get a better compliment than that. So we take it out, and as you know, we're in Dublin 15. This will be my 5th or 6th show in the fabulous Draíocht Theatre here in Blanchardstown, and we're there on Friday night, the 24th of April, with the Shane O'Connor Quartet, and we'll have a lovely set that again is a slice of all this great music from the golden age of swing, big band, and the great American songbook. They're always great fun, and what I love about the shows also, Jeff, is that you can sometimes go to a theatre to see somebody performing, and people around you, if you're sitting in the audience, some people don't like you to sing. it's prerequisite at my shows that everybody sings. From the moment I walk out and do the first number, the engagement with the audience is what makes the night. And I always say to the audience, I'm only here to facilitate a great night for you. This is your night.
Well, that definitely sounds like a great night, and of course, as you say, audience participation, and of course, it is live as well. And I suppose that's something that often hear when we're talking about music, that unfortunately, because record sales have hit the hit the bottom, like people are actually, even big names from years ago have to go back out on the road to make a few bob, and which is a great thing as well for the audiences, like that, to get a chance to see these people.
Well, to be honest, Jeff, I got lots of big opportunities to perform with productions that were tracks,
Yeah.
And I said I wasn't going to go down that road. Even when I started in the pubs, I always had a 3-piece behind me.
Right.
A saxophone, a piano, and drums, because I felt that this particular music, it warrants that. You have to pay respect to this music. It's where it all started, jazz and swing. Everything we're listening today emanates from it. And you've got to pay it respect. So I decided I would not go any other route other than live musicians. And I have A-grade musicians behind me. I mean, I tend to work with the O'Connors, the O'Connor family here from Dublin. And they're just black belt masters of music, You've got Derek O'Connor, who is a globally renowned saxophone player. His brother Gary on drum, Shane, who is my musical director. And then we bring in Neville Lloyd on bass, double bass. And I could just stand at the side of the stage and just let these guys let it rip. And I wouldn't have to be there. But I know the audiences, when they speak to me after the show, they just to be blown away with the musicianship and the quality of the music, So Frank Sinatra was great in his own right, but you take all the great big bands, the Count Basies and the, everybody else that he played with, if you take them away, you're kind of diluting the drink, He played with the best, he was the best, and if you put a combination of those things together, this music is just better than anything else, really. And I've never gone down the road as the tracks, as I say. I appreciate people have to do it, but where and when you can play with musicians, the dynamic and the chemistry is completely different.
And speaking as somebody that does enjoy live music, now I'm not necessarily a fan in terms of the singers,
yes.
But I mean, I'm open to every kind of music. There's definitely something about sitting in an audience and just seeing the effort what people put into it, and of course to keep that alive, that people are willing to learn.
The optics alone is enough to help you on your night. I did have the privilege of playing with the Nelson Riddle Orchestra in the Board Gosh a couple of years back. I got linked up with Nelson Riddle's son, and he got in touch to say they were bringing the show to Dublin, and I helped put that together, and it was just incredible to play with a 32-piece orchestra behind me. So that was one of the highlights of the journey so far, Jeff.
It would have been as well. And just before we go, Tom, in terms of the show itself, obviously singing the songs, and we've obviously touched upon this, about the lives of Frank Sinatra and all that. Do you mix in any kind of his history or any kind of?
Oh, absolutely. Every song for me has a story. Now, I don't put people to sleep with a story, but there's a reference on the song. Absolutely. I have my notes in front of me. I don't sing off charts or sheets. It's completely all off the cuff.
Right.
Because I believe if you want to sell a song, I mean, I see so many people now, performing off tablets and so on and so forth. If they have to do that, good luck to them. But if you look at a performer who can look the audience in the eye because he knows the song, and Frank Sinatra was the best at this. He knew the song, he believed in the song, he lived the song. And if you can get that across to an audience, you're halfway there, Yeah. So, every song that I would have, and we also have visuals behind us. So, if I'm going into a Nat Cole number, you'll have a lovely visual of Nat King Cole behind me.
All right.
And I'll give you a little briefing on the song I'm going to do, maybe pre it or post it, and give its arranger and the year it was released and so on and so forth. And it brings back memories for people, It's a point of reference.
It's important, Well, Tom, it's been great talking to you. Obviously, you can hear in your voice, definitely the radio presenter professionalism.
They say I have a face for radio as well. So.
Well, I do say that as well. They often threaten here in this station about bringing the cameras into the studio.
Or put you on the side of the bus.
Oh, well, that won't be happening here, I don't think. But the threat of video cameras in the studio now, I'm not too sure about, because sometimes between the interviews and the music, like, you know, I wouldn't want to be seeing what goes on, you know, antics between presenters. But that's for another day. Can
I just say that the scene in the Draíocht Theatre was the first theatre that I embarked upon on this journey.
Okay, well, that's good.
Emer, the head of things in there, and Nicola in the office who looks after marketing. Them and all the staff, they are so kind to me, and they look after me so well, and make sure that we maximise everything for both me and the audience. And I want to take this opportunity on Phoenix to thank them, and to thank yourself, Jeff, for the opportunity to speak about the show. And I hope that we'll have some people in the area who weren't aware of it will now get their tickets from the Draíocht.
Well, that's the whole idea. And we have that link with Draíocht, you know, that kind of helping each other out. And just in case you didn't know, Tom, Draíocht is actually celebrating its 25th anniversary this year.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's fantastic. So maybe we'll bring a birthday cake then.
You can bring a birthday cake, or you can sing happy birthday from the
Happy birthday at least.
25th anniversary.
The latter might be the cheaper option, but Jeff, keep up the great work there on the local station.
You as well. And
I don't know why we haven't spoken before, but I hope this isn't the last time.
Oh, yeah, well, hopefully not. And that show then, as you said, Tom Cole, and come here, just out of curiosity, is it Junior, Tom Cole Jr.?
Yeah, my late father was senior, and he pushed me into singing, and I came to the party very, very late, and we won't give you the age, the age at this point, but I came to the party very late. I was kind of an induced birth to music and singing, and it was my father kept elbowing me when we'd be up in, say, Erin's Isle there, we'd be at the sing-alongs. Would you get up and sing, Tom? Would you not get up and sing? Dad, I don't feckin' sing. And said, I hear you singing, you're a singer, etc., etc. And there's another story to all that, how I managed to get on stage and how this whole thing unfolded. But anyhow, what happened when I did eventually get up, people were calling from the stage, Tom Cole, could we have Tom Cole, please? My dad would stand up, I'd sit down, I'd stand up, my dad would sit down.
Okay.
Which is it? So
very
Dad
good.
said, listen, you're going to be junior and I'm senior, and that's it. And that was maybe 25 years ago.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's a good note.
Put the record straight.
Okay, Tom, and that show, Songs That Shaped the World, is on. You'll be performing on Friday the 24th of April at 8 p.m. in Draíocht.
That's the one. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, mind yourself, Tom.
God
Thanks
bless.
again.
Bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye.